Success usually come to those who are too busy to be looking for it. I do repeat, success usually come to those who are too busy to be looking for it. So, starting a new chapter, I, Abhishek Kumar, being your host for the event, want to extend a very warm welcome and very good evening to all of you present here. And I hope you all are doing amazing. So, on the behalf of the whole SEMS family, I welcome you all for this international webinar on the topic importance of networking for the career. And to add our guest of honor and our speaker, Mr. Prabhas Abhay Kumar. Sir, it's a great honor to have you with us, and we are very much thankful for your presence. And as I can see, quite number of people are joining us. So before I proceed, let me take a brief moment for the introduction of my organization SEMS. SEMS Welfare Foundation is a non-profit entity established to work in the areas of education, social welfare, women empowerment, skill development, entrepreneurship, livelihood generation, employability, health, research, culture, international cooperation, sports, environment protection, and with the similar sector. We also promote healthy life, a balanced life, and a strong business. Now, let me introduce our speaker to you all, Mr. Prabhas Abhay Kumar. Talking about his education qualification is that he has done bachelor's in engineering in mechanical department from Bangalore University. He has also done master's in science in computer information system from St. Mary University, USA. Apart from that, he has also done master's in business administration from Our Lady Lake University, USA. Talking about his working experience is that he is currently vice president at uh, Soci- Society Generate Global Solutions Center in Bangalore. He is also heading the IT department for the corporate loan and security. Earlier, he was working with the startup companies with the IT services and the various similar company in the Belgium and the US. And he is also a senior most management professional having a diverse strategic leadership role in the banking services, financial services, IT services, and the various kind of startup firms. He also possesses expertise in the areas such as digital transformation, enterprise product, platform development, with the establishment and management of the profit and the loss of for the offshore delivery centers and lots more.
Okay, thanks, Abhishek, for giving this opportunity to be part of this session today, and thanks for the nice introduction. Let me share my screen. Okay, so my name is Prabhas. Again, thanks everyone for joining for this session. So I believe I have about 50 more minutes. So what I will do is for the rest 35 minutes, I will share my views and key points on this topic, and definitely leave more than sufficient time for Q&A, because that's where I feel the real value would be in terms of answering any of your queries and so forth, right? So the topic I chose when I was asked to present in this wider forum, I narrowed down on this topic called the importance of networking for career advancement, right? So this kind of addresses people across various backgrounds and across various age as well, right? So, but before I start, why would somebody come on board and listen to anyone speaking on a webinar when you can get all the information today in through Chat GPT, right? You just type in the importance of networking for career advancement on Chat GPT tool. I'm sure it will give you a PPT, a lengthy white paper, or whatever it be, right? So everything is available at our tip of the hand, right? So I hope by the end of this presentation, I would have made some difference in terms of the information I have shared and what you would have consumed from it, and added little more value than what probably a Chat GPT would do, right? So with that, let me start with content for today, right? What will I cover, right? First, we'll quickly go through a simple definition of what is a networking. All right, it's the process of making connections It could be a professional connection, a personal connection, an academic one, or anything related. All right, and with a purpose. Right, the purpose depending on why you are networking. It could be to seek some help, seek some advice, get a job, and anything related, right? So that's the it's a very broader definition of networking. But today, what we'll focus is for the rest of the presentation predominantly on how networking helps in your career growth related to job, professional advancement, and things like that. So that would be the focus, right? So with that, first I'll talk a little bit on what are the different types of networking and few interesting quotes which kind of highlights the strength of networking, and what are the key benefits. And I'll also share very key statistics of why networking is so important in a professional world. And I have classified the next part into four different sections. I feel networking can be categorized in these four sections. One is career planning, uh, seeking a job, career development, and professional development. And I will go through why I have classified it in these three, four categories, and give you, depending on which particular section you're looking at in terms of advancing your networking capabilities. I'll give you some tips on what are the best things to do in those respective things, right? And to summarize my 2 cents on the effective way of networking based on my experience, good and bad, right? And of course, few key examples, and finally end with a Q&A, right? Okay. Since we are supposed to wait at the end for Q&A, please type in your questions that you might have in the chat window. I will definitely look into all of that after I'm done and answer those. Right. So, what are the types of networking? I mean, there are literally three types of networking that you would probably engage at any point of your career or at any point of your life, right? First one is the operating networking, right? When we talk about operations, it could be operation, and operation is predominantly internal. In a professional network, it could be within your company, within your business, or anything related to that, right? And the purpose is to get the job done, right? It could be a project that you need to collaborate within your organization with various teams. You start networking, building the team, and get the job done, right? So that's the predominantly an operational network. And again, I'm just reminding all the context, all the examples that I will give, I will try to focus purely on the career aspects, right? But you could relate it to any other aspects in terms of the networking, right? Because networking is a very broad topic, right? Next one is personal networking, right? As the name says, this is something that helps you during tough times, where you reach out to your contacts for seeking help, seeking advice, and the focus here is to narrow down to few small and few relevant contacts who could have the impact, right? When I say impact, individuals or group that could really help you achieve what you are looking for, right? Last one is the strategic networking, right? So here, when we always talk about strategy, we talk about long term, something in the future, right? So your strategy could be, I need to get a job, or I need to get a promotion, or I need to uh, set up a startup, I need to get funding, whatever it be, right? So that's a strategic intention, because of which you will look at ways to put in action items to do your networking, right? And depending on what that strategy initiative means, the networking could either be internal or external, right? So just a theoretical classification of networking, so that you just get the context and some base before I go into the next sections, right? So next, we all know, whether intentionally or without our knowledge, we all network in our day-to-day life, right? For various reasons, right? It's highly unlikely that we as human beings, and in today's digital world, we are able to work in silos. No, we are always connected, and we always get into some kind of networking. the power of networking is grown so much that this quote I found very strong. It says the richest people in the world look for and build network, right? Everyone else looks for work. All right. So this was said by Robert Kiyosaki. So you all might relate to who this person is. Maybe not by the name, but at least by the picture. He is a famous American author and entrepreneur. You would have heard about the Rich Dad Poor Dad book, right? He talks about building. Um, being financially independent and building fame and building your net worth and things like that, right? So this is the power of network, right, as per him, right? And in my last section I will give a few more very relevant examples of how people have grown by leveraging the power of networking, right? I mean, there are multiple examples, but I thought two key examples. I'll come to that, right? Next one is something that I normally say within my organization, within to my managers and to my peers. It's which is, it's not about how many people you know. What is important is how many people know you, right? I might say I know Shah Rukh Khan, I know Donald Trump, but does Shah Rukh Khan or Donald Trump know me? You see the difference, right? So the latter one has a bigger impact and has a bigger weightage if I tell people that Donald Trump knows me because of this reason, right? And how you will be able to leverage that networking connection that you have with Donald Trump, right? So I don't know who said this. I didn't do much research on the web to see if anybody has made this statement in the past. So that's why I just kept it as unknown. So if nobody has said this, probably I can put my name saying this is a quote by me, right? Okay, right. So I just wanted to share those two quotes to emphasize the importance of networking in the context of your professional network, right? So now next comes a few relevant points on how important networking is, right? It's, according to me, it's imperative. It's an expected skill, irrespective of what industry you are in, irrespective of at what point of time in a career you are in, right? And I will, when I go into the other four sections of different types of networking, I will explain those. But we all need to network today, right? Especially when you're talking about the professional front, it becomes very important that without networking, we will all struggle, right? It aids in your career development and growth, right? So with the social platforms that we have, the likes of I would say LinkedIn, job portals like Naukri, Indeed, um, and other forums. It could be job fairs, it could be professional networking organizations. All of this are platforms and opportunity for us to network, and they all help us in our career development and growth. Right. So it's very important to understand. I'll talk about few of those platforms and other things as we go. But how important networking is for your career development and growth. Right? It builds relationship. Right. So whether in the virtual world or in the offline mode, today we are almost got back to the offline mode. Through networking, we build relationship. Right. Some of those relationship can be short term or related to the task or the initiative that we are looking at. But the main intention of networking is to build long term relationship, right? It could be, again, the relationship could be internal to your organization or in the external world, in wherever context you are looking at, right? But it builds long term relationship, and hopefully your intent should be to build long term fruitful and positive relationship, right? And it's your moral obligation to give back to the community, right? So whether you're looking for a job or whether you're looking for to enhance your knowledge, whether you're looking to build your professional credentials, whatever it is, if you are always consuming from your network, be it the individuals, platforms, or whatever, it becomes a very one-sided, very solo journey, right? And very soon you'll realize that the impact that you would be able to make for yourself and within the ecosystem would be very low if you do not have interactions, if it's not a two-way communication. Meaning, as much as you would take advantage of things from your network, you also need to give back, And I say it's your moral obligation and it's your karma, right? You ought to do that, right? Last but not the least, it definitely boosts your confidence, right? Because of the fact that you feel that if you are in need of help, if you have doubts, if you need clarification on something, you can reach out to your networks and they are readily available there to help you. So that boosts your confidence and life become easier, right? Just imagine, I'm not sure how many of you are old enough to go back to, let's say, the 80s or the 90s, where we didn't have the digital platforms that we have today, and not even access to smartphones and things like that. Networking was very limited, or it had its own avenues, but it was challenging, right? Life was tough. Today, because of what we have, because information is available on our fingertips, networking is so easily available in different ways of networking. Our life has become so easy, right? So, summary, you would have got a snapshot of what I want to communicate here is in terms of how important networking is to grow your career, to grow your knowledge, to build relationship and give back something to the community, right? So I'll quickly share some statistics. Of course, anyone can Google and get a whole of statistics on networking, be it related to professional growth, business, whatever it is, right? But since I'm talking about networking in the context of career, I thought I'll just share four key statistics which highlights the importance of networking, right? So today, irrespective of the geographic location or the industry, 70% of the jobs are found via networking, right? We all know, we all extensively use LinkedIn, Naukri, Indeed, and all of those platforms. We all can attribute towards that, right? 90% of them, be it the B2B event, B2C event, or whatever, attend these events for networking. I mean, you would have seen many manufacturing fair, industry specific fairs where the main intention of those events is for people to come together, both the manufacturer, distributors, sellers, consumers, and network and get to know what are the new products in the market, what is the advancement in those specific areas, right? And 80% confirm that networking is key to professional success, right? Professional success could be in terms of getting a job, switching a job, improving your professional credentials, whatever it is, right? 80%, it's a big number, right? And last but not the least, 95% say it's necessary to network, to build business relationship and grow, right? Especially if you are on the outside of your job, if you're on the business side of it. Today, the business world is so competitive, right? It's a global business world. So even if you have good quality product, even if your pricing strategy is good, networking, right, is so critical in terms of how you position your product in what markets, what is your network in terms of reaching your distributors, sellers. So it's very important, right? That's where you'll see among all of this, business side feels that networking has the maximum impact, right? So that's just a snapshot. So we'll go into the core part of the core section that I talked about, right? So networking for career planning, right? According to me, this is a phase where you are deciding what career path you will choose, right? Either when you are in your 12 plus, or when you are just about to graduate, or whatever stage you are, just before getting into the core completion of your professional degree or whatever, you are in a phase where you want to decide and you're not sure about what career path to choose, right? Many times we know and we do something because our parents have done, our brothers and sisters have done something, and we blindly follow that. But today, it is very important for the younger generation to understand what is the right career path. Because today there are so many opportunities, unlike 15, 20 years, where choices were very limited. Main choice was either, especially if you are looking in the Indian context, either you become an engineer or a doctor. But if you are not able to afford that, then you go to other ancillary or other streams which were not that very popular in terms of the scope that they used to offer. But today, the streams are so varied, and sometimes you get confused, right? Which one to choose? And it's very hard to evaluate what is my liking, what is my passion, what has potential, and so forth, right? That's where this space is very critical. And here is my three key points as to why it is very important to network during this phase, right? If you do network, you will get valuable insights from people in the fields, in their respective fields, right? And those feedback could be good or bad, right? For example, if I've just completed plus 2, and I know something about medicine, but I do not know what is the scope, what does the medical field entitle, right? So if I am networking with the like-minded people who are pursuing medicine, or doctors who are participating, right? So they would probably share insights into it, in terms of what are the pros and cons of getting into a medicine field. I'm just giving one example. So like that, depending on your field of interest, if you build that network, if you reach out to those networking groups, they will be able to share their experience, based on which you can take a very positive decision, right? And most important decision that you make at this point of time, of your life, it decides what you do for the rest of the life, right? That's the scary part, right? The choice that you make while you are young, while you are still not sure, where you are a little bit confused, where there are too many options in front of you, that key decision decides what you will do for rest of your life, right? Of course, sometimes you'll be able to change your career path, get into different domain, different industry, but that switch is not easy. It has its own risk, and not everybody will be able to make that switch, right? So doing proper due diligence with network, with informed information, decides your life, right? And this space can be an ideal opportunity for you to identify a good mentor, right? While you are networking, be it your college professor, be it your somebody who is learned within your family, you identify them as a mentor who could help validate your thoughts, who could help validate your decision making process, and guide you during that phase, right? So that these are some of the key reasons. Of course, the list can go on, but according to me, these are the key reasons why networking during this phase for your career planning is very key, right? And here are a few suggestions. Like I said, your professor, teacher can be a good guiding factor, because they would have seen it, right? They would have seen it. They would, depending on your interaction with them, they would know you personally in terms of your strength, weakness, and they would be able to guide, right? Your parents, or any reliable family members. Again, here, when it comes to your parents, we have to be really careful, because sometimes, many times, parents try to impose on their children what they want, right, or what they couldn't achieve, right? Nevertheless, you could take that with a pinch of salt in terms of their aspiration, but follow your instinct, follow your passion, and follow your interest, right? And there are, of course, today in the digital world, there are college websites, there are educational fairs that happen in major metro areas. There are many key educational portals. I've mentioned few of them, which gives vast information in terms of what decision you need to make, and take it forward, right? So these are also avenues and for networking, right? And you could always do internship. You could work in an NGO to get varied experience before you decide on what you want to do, right? Right. So for the next three sections, this will be the pattern that I'll mention. Hopefully, since we are not very interactive here, hopefully this is adding value. All right. Next, key area of networking. Next phase would be when you're seeking a job, right? So this phase is when you're searching for your either first job, or you're changing a job, or sometimes you're changing your career field, going from one domain to another domain, and so forth, right? So here I would like to share a few statistics, right? 60% of the professionals said that networking leads to job opportunities, right? That's more than 50%. It's on the higher side, and it testifies that networking does open the door for good job opportunities, right? And 73% of professionals were hired via connections, right? When I say connections, for example, if you are already working in a company and you have job openings in your organization, you're referring some of your friends, and that's the connection that is coming through you, right? Things like that, right? And 73% is a huge number, right? 70% of the jobs are not even advertised on job portals, right? And 80%, 85% of the vacancies, depending on the field, these are all predominantly IT or technology related percentages, right? So take it with a pinch of salt. The numbers might not be the same across industries, but it gives you an idea, right? Where the statistic says 85% of the vacancies are filled via referral, right? While you might see hundreds and thousands of jobs on job portals, many times companies are mandated to post them, right? But many of you would have encountered this saying that, oh, I applied for so many jobs, but I didn't get a call from either one of them. Why? One of the reason could be that while they have advertised, hundreds and thousands have applied. There is also an internal referral mechanism which has a stronger weightage because that referral is coming through an internal connect, through a internal network of people, right? Which the company would have more confidence with, right? So that's the power of networking, right? So what are few of the suggestions, right? First thing, you all, most of you are aware, you need to build a strong profile on job sites, be it LinkedIn, Naukri, Indeed, or whatever, right? When do you start building this? Today, when LinkedIn started, you would probably have seen, while I think the official entry age is still 18, you would have probably seen experienced people getting on LinkedIn, right? Now, once you are qualified legally to be on the platform, even when you are during your college days, you can start building the profile, right? So why I'm saying that is, the profile cannot be built the month or the day you start your job search, right? The profile needs to be built over a course of time, because it needs to have content, it needs to have relevant content, it needs to have connection, it needs to have all the other ingredients that makes it stand out, right? Right. So, and related to that, keep it professional, right? So when you're talking about getting a job, you're talking about getting a job in a professional world. So keep it professional, right? Seek good recommendation, right? Especially when you're starting your career, you're seeking a first job. Recommendations matter, right? In the Indian context today, even when you're changing jobs, recommendations come in really handy. And if your potential recruiters are able to see those recommendations online on portals like LinkedIn, others, nothing like it, right? You'll stand out in the crowd, right? Keep your non-professional content clean. I thought about mentioning this is because today many companies, many business are also reviewing or scanning the social footprint of individuals that they want to hire, right? Whether that is legal in any particular geographic area in any particular country, I'll keep that aside. But companies are looking at it. Why? Because they want to understand how the individual, the behavioral background of that individual, how would that impact once the individual is coming on board, right? So as much as possible, I know it's very tempting for us to be very clean on multiple platforms, but as much as possible, keep your social content clean, right? Don't go on a negative rampage on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, right? It will come and bite you somewhere down the line in your professional career, right? So your personal things, keep it personal, but on the social networking, keep the non-professional content clean as much as possible, right? And identify a good professional mentor earlier in the career, right? Like I said earlier, it could be a professor, it could be somebody in the industry who has a good presence, who is well recognized, that can help you as a either a career coach or a mentor, right? That individual will definitely have a bigger impact on you, not necessarily in terms of getting a job, but in terms of the advice, right? It could be advising of how to structure your resume in terms of advising how to approach in your job search, blah 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 of that, right? So these are just a few suggestions. I could spend an hour on this alone, but I will move on to the last point. Do not discount the importance of company website and career phrase, right? So today, more and more people are thinking, if I have posted my profile or resume on LinkedIn or Naukri, recruiters will come there and find me, right? No, that is, while that is one avenue, you also need to spread your tentacles vast enough, right? So when you go to company website and apply on the company portal, trust me, this is how in my current organization we look at it. If individuals are coming on our website and applying, that shows that the individual is recognizing my company, is recognizing the value of my company's brand, and has shown interest in my company rather than just going on LinkedIn and applying for 10 to 20 jobs, right? So that's how I look at it, and that's how many of the recruiters in companies look at it. So that's why I say, don't discount the fact what information and the engagement that you need to have with individual companies on their website, and also related to that, identify key individuals in those companies and build the connect. Not everybody might have the time to reply to you, but even if you have 10 to 15% response rate, that is still good enough, right? At the end of the day, you don't need 10 jobs, you just need one relevant and one dream job, right? So with that aim, look at all avenues, spread your tentacles wide enough so that you have a good reach and you have a good approach, right? Next, I have two more sections before I summarize on some of the tips and other things, right? While I was putting this, I was thinking the difference between a career development and professional development, it's a thin line, right? And I will explain what the difference is, right? According to me, when you are talking about career development and networking for career development, this is a phase when you are progressing in your career, right? Either internally within a company, or you are looking at jumping companies and taking up a different role or a higher role in a different company. That's the career development I'm talking about. I'll come to the next slide where I will talk about professional development, right? And you will clearly see the difference between the two, right? So here again, few statistics. 79% or close to 80% believe career progression depends on networking, right? Be it internal or external, right? That's a very high number. 48% stay in touch with their networks when things are going well. Why I thought this statistics was very important is, many times we feel or we get into a positive vibe, saying that I'm doing well, I don't need to network, right? And we get into that mode and forget the importance of being connected. All right, this is very important, because when things are bad, you cannot start uh, 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 at that point of time, right? You need to have a continuous engagement, right? Let's say you are not even engaged with your network, you do not know who is doing what, you have not contributed, you have not been giving back to the community. Suddenly, let's say you lose your job and you reach out to your networks. Just imagine, the first feeling would be, wow, man, this guy was nowhere to be seen for all these months, years. Suddenly he has a need and he's now reaching out, right? So you will be ignored, you will be sidelined, right? So that's where I thought it's very important that you be engaged with your networks, you be active, uh, even when things are going well, right? So that way, when you really need it, it will help you, right? Okay, what happened to the next one? Yeah, right. So here are a few suggestions. First thing I thought I will mention about not burning bridges with your coworkers, managers, blah blah blah, right? Many times, when people leave their company, or when people move from one group to other group, for whatever reason, most of the time, either they don't like the work that they're doing, or they don't like their manager, they leave on a very sour note, right? Thinking that I'm leaving this company, or I'm leaving this group, I will never come back. So I don't have to worry about negative things that I will be saying, blah blah blah, right? But trust me, in today's digital world, no matter how confident you feel that yes, you might not encounter that individual company, team, group, or whatever, there are good chances that you might cross the path, right? So that's where I'm saying, in the world which is so closely knitted, where everybody is having a good network. Never burn the bridges, right? And always remember, and I tell this to people who leave, there is nothing like a best company, best manager, right? If you are going behind looking for the best company, best manager, you are probably uh, uh, your journey will be very long. Probably you are trying to look for something that is not practical, right? So why I'm saying all of this is because if you feel the current manager that you had was bad and that's why you're leaving, there is no assurance that the future manager will be better than the current one, right? So each one you need to look at from a context of the ecosystem, context of the situation, and ensure that you leave or you maintain that good relationship with your connect, right? So that's the summary, right? Know key people in your organization, even if they are not related to uh, your work that you do, or if they are not within your group team, things like that, right? Because you never know where that person or that team will be able to influence, or when that person or team would come to you, come to your help, or be able to assist you in what context, right? Again, like I said before, don't start building the network the day you need some help, right? You should have done that groundwork for a long time before, right? That's where I'm mentioning this is build that network within your organization, right? Let's say if you are working in a product development, and you feel that uh, HR, or you feel or other teams are not directly impacting what you do, uh, you will be surprised where there might have a bigger impact down the line, right? So be cognizant of that fact and build key relationship with key people across your organization, internally as well as to some extent externally possible, right? Keep learning, look at opportunities to share knowledge, become a coach, mentor, right? This goes back to again to the point where I mentioned give back to the community, right? It's your because karma will come and help you, right? For example, in my current organization, I am identified as a designated coach within the organization for anyone to reach out to me on specific areas, right? That's where I'm networking within the organization. I'm making my present felt in terms of saying these are my expertise, this is where I can help individuals within the organization in terms of mentoring them, coaching them, and addressing their concerns, helping them in their career, blah blah blah, right? So that's how you build the network, right? And you are indirectly helping others, and you're indirectly and directly helping yourself in terms of expanding your network, right? Be in touch with your alumni network, be it your uh, uh, college alumni, being be it your previous company alumni. Be in touch with them, right? Don't cut off that umbilical cord after you're done with your college or with your organization, right? Continuing with that alumni network is a very strong connect that you can have, right? Next, and the last section is the professional development, networking for professional development, right? So this phase, according to me, is for somebody who is looking at building their credentials in the professional context within their organization or within their industry. Of course, it might also the intent also could be to grow in your career, but predominantly why I feel this needs a separate section or it's a separate context is where you are building your credential, where you are building your presence, right? For example, before I go to the suggestion, for example, I'm a neurosurgeon, right? And I've set up a practice, right? For me, I have to build that practice, right? I'm not looking for uh, joining any hospital, independent hospital, or anything of that nature. I'm done with my credentials. Now I set up a practice of my own. Now I have to build my profession in that practice, right? So what are the things that I can do to build my professional network in that practice, right? As a doctor, there is something that every year they have to earn certain credentials to maintain their license, right? So for which they attend seminar and talks and other things, right? That is one. And they get onto various platforms. Today you have Practo and various other platforms where they establish their credentials based on their client or their patient testimonials and things like that, right? Uh, and they enroll in certain professional organizations and contribute towards that, right? So this is one example I'm giving how I, as a professional, am looking at ways to build my network and expand my core competency, my core profession. In this case, it was my medical practice, right? So few suggestions there, right? Enroll in professional body. I'm just giving few examples, like IEEE, Institute of Electrical Electronics Engineering, that is one. PMI, Project Management Institute, is one. Chamber of Commerce is one. There are multiple industry professional bodies depending on which industry you are from, right? Uh, be tied to them, enroll in them. Some of them are free, some of them come with annual fees. It has lot of benefits in terms of giving you or validating your credential as a professional, right? So it gives you an opportunity to network with like-minded people within your domain, within your physical area and things like that, right? And if you want to go beyond that, there are organizations like Rotary, which do a lot of work, which is predominantly helping you to build your network with other like-minded people. Maybe not necessarily within your field of expertise, but across diverse industry and diverse age group and things like that, right? So this again helps you in building your network, and again, uh, having that connect, you will not know when the network will come handy to you, right? That is one. Improve your communication and public speaking skills, right? Today, even though I'll talk from an IT setup perspective, even though we have engineers and well-educated individuals in the workforce, communication skills is one of the top requirements that is lacking, right? We compared to our peers in the Western world, because of our mother tongue or whatever, we are not able to communicate properly. Okay, I'm not just saying communication in terms of knowing English and things like that, right? Communication is not language specific. Communication is your ability to communicate and make an impact to the audience, right? That is important, right? Uh, of course, while you develop that, as a next step is to see in a public forum like this, uh, or in an internal forum with a limited audience, how can you improve your communication skills, right? One example that we have in our organization, and many professional organizations or professional companies have this, is the Toastmaster Club, right? It's a Toastmasters is a international organization. They specifically focus on networking and communication, right? And how you hone your communication skills, how you hone or give opportunity for public speaking and so forth, right? It's very important because many times people hesitate to network because they lack communication skills. They feel that they are introvert, they are not able to communicate, they are not able to speak up, and things like that, right? That pushes them, or that prevents them from networking, right? So it's very important uh, to improve on your communication skill, right? Do not ignore the impact of face-to-face interaction. I felt this is very important because after pandemic, networking, I'm not saying we stopped networking during pandemic, but networking has taken a very digital flavor to it, where people have lost the face-to-face or the physical interaction aspect of it, right? And this has a lot of psychological and other impacts, which we realize after 2 or 3 years, the importance of physical interaction, the importance of physical touch, the importance of sitting next to each other, the importance of being in a team, the importance of social gathering, the conversations that happen in social gathering in an offline mode, right? All of that has a different impact than the networking that happens in the virtual world, because you get to know the individual. Of course, you see the facial and other aspects even in the digital world, but the physical touch, the handshake, hug, whatever has a different context to it, right? So that's where I feel, and I'm sure most of us are realizing the importance of it and the benefit of it once we are now back into the offline mode of interactions, and I'm sure many of us are now also going back to office and things like that, right? That is very important, right? Last but not the least, I think this is the last point, right? Leverage on. I'm just doing a time check. Yeah, okay. I will try to summarize quickly. Leverage on platforms like Meetup, Eventbrite, All Events. I'm on few of those platforms. These are excellent platforms. Some of them are global, some of them are India specific, where you can see events that are predominantly focused towards networking in your respective areas, right? You'll find like-minded people. Many of them are free, some of them are paid. So leverage that to hone your professional skills and expand your network. Okay. So quickly, in the interest of time, I'm here mentioning simple mantras or simple tips for effective networking. Right? Be yourself and be humble. Right? Even though you might think in the digital world, how will I showcase humbleness? Right? Trust me, it will become evident through what you say, meaning what you write, and how you communicate. Right? Humbleness will go a long way, irrespective of which field you are in, or or at what point of career you are in. And be yourself, right? Don't put a false mask and try to be different, right? Be yourself. This is what organization and individuals will appreciate, right? I will quickly go through it. Leverage social media in the right context, right? Like I said earlier, keep it professional and differentiate your professional persona to social persona, right? I've seen many individuals having the same uh, uh, Twitter or Facebook picture on their LinkedIn profile, right? I'm not saying their that picture was bad, but that picture was not right in the professional context, right? So your persona on your social personal network should be totally different, pleasant, and keep it clean, like I said earlier, versus your persona on the professional network like LinkedIn and others. So it should be different, right? And networking, this is very key. I just quickly have put sub bullet points. Like I've said earlier, networking, look at it as a long term investment. It's not like you create a LinkedIn profile or you start something in 1 week, 1 month, you'll reap the benefits. It's a long term investment. It's a long journey, right? You have to foster a relationship with your network. You have to improvise on your value proposition. I mean, I keep updating my LinkedIn profile every now and then based on what I feel uh, I can change in terms of the impact, right? In terms of what I'm communicating, how relevant it is, right? So you have to improvise on your value proposition and personalize every part of the profile, right? Be it your summary, be it your picture, be it your recent activities, be it your recent engagement. In what context? Make it personalized and relevant to the organization. Tag people, tag organizations that would be relevant. So that way you become part of that networking community, right? And keep growing the network, right? This is not a YouTube like or subscribe kind of growth. You have to grow with relevant people within your network, and your network should where you will be able to make an impact and socialize and take advantage of it, right? I'm not talking about YouTube number of likes or number of things like that, right? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about relevance here, right? Build a network before you need. Of course, I've already touched upon it. Don't look at building a network on the day you need help, right? It's you should have done it long time back. Don't lose touch with former colleagues. I've already touched upon this. Be it your alumni network, be it your previous team members, be it your previous boss, everybody will come handy, right? Focus on quality instead of quantity, right? Again, I said it's not about how many YouTube likes or views you have achieved. It's about the quality of your network, right? You do not need thousands of people to help you. You need a handful of people to help you, handful of people to guide you, right? That's the key. Like, again, last but not the least, look at ways to give back, right? Because that is karma. Today, very few people. I mean, there are people who are doing a lot of good work. in terms of giving back to their society, giving back to their alumni, contributing to professional organization and links, things like that, right? Okay, last section before I open up for any questions is one great person that I follow. I'm sure you all know this person by name. He has written many books. One of his bestseller is Get Epic Shit Done, right? And his name is right there, Ankur Warikoo, right? So he was the founder of nearby.com. He had enrolled to do his PhD in US, quit his PhD halfway, came back to India. At one point of time, he was almost close to being broke, didn't have a source of revenue, but he built his empire today. I think last year, 2022, his organization's revenue, a small organization, I think it was around 20 plus crores, right? And this has been built in the last 4 to 5 years. And he has leveraged on the power of networking, right? I will not go, it's not, this session is not about his biography, but look into his website, look into his details. You'll understand and you'll be inspired and motivated by how he has leveraged the power of networking to uh, uh, to to achieve his goals in his life. And now he's helping other individuals, other organizations to become somebody like him. All right. Next person is you might also recognize him is Akshat Srivastava. He is again another professional. He is an ex Boston Consulting Group employee. He is just like Ankur. He's also a professional who advises startups, advises professionals, predominantly on the financial side of the industry in terms of building the financial goals of individuals. He has various companies that he has invested in, and a very impactful person in terms of, again, how he has built his stake through networking, right? So and I'm sure there are hundreds of people you'll find across the globe who can motivate you, whom you can follow, whom you can take as examples, right? But these I follow them and I get inspired, and I would recommend that you, if you have not come across them or if you have not gone into the details, go through them to understand the power of networking, what they have done, what, and they will also, each one of them will explain what they have done wrong and how they have overcome that and things like that. That is important. If you can learn from mistakes of what others have done, you avoid making that mistake, right? And have less impact on yourself, right? Okay, I'll stop there. Thanks for your time. I will see if there are any questions in the chat, and we will go to the Q&A session, right?
Knowledge that you have shared to us, and I hope our audience learned many new things from this session. And once again, I would like to say that thank you for you all for joining this. And sir, I can see that there are a few questions which our audience want to be answered.
Okay.
So with okay, the first question is, how does networking contribute to the career?
Right, like I said in a few of my slides, it's very imperative in today's world. Just imagine, I'm not sure the name of the individual who asked this question, whoever that is.
Yeah.
See, if I'm sitting in my apartment, in my dorm room or whatever, how will you be found? How will people know about you, right? So that's where the power of networking comes into the picture, right? You need to put yourself out there, be it on the networking platforms, out there in career fairs, out there in relevant industry forums. Again, going back to the quote, it's not about how many people you know, it's about how many people know you, right? Only then people will, you might have all the credentials in the world, you might have a good degree, you might have good capability, all of that. You have to showcase that. How do you showcase? You have to network, right? So you have to put yourself out there, right? So the more people know you, the more people recognize your capability, your credential, your value add. That's where the opportunity will come to you. That's where the gates will open to you for various opportunity. As simple as that.
Sir, the second question which our audience want to know that can you explain the long-term advantage of the networking in terms of career progression?
Correct. Like I said, let me remember when I joined LinkedIn. I think this was around 2010, 9 or 10. Right. I came back from the US in 2006. I remember after that, LinkedIn got to be more relevant in the professional network. Right. So once I've gone on LinkedIn, all of my job changes, all of the things that I have been doing professionally has significantly because of the network that I've built on LinkedIn, right? And again, like I said earlier, the network, the content, the value proposition was not built in one day, 1 week, 1 month, right? It was built over a course of years, right? Today, why did I get an opportunity, or why did I get invited to come and share my thoughts in a global forum like this, right? It's because of the power of networking, because SEMS recognized me, identified me through my credentials, through my presence on LinkedIn, right? And it's not just because of one section of my credentials, like educational credential or anything, right? It's because of everything that I've done over the course of time, right? So it's a journey. Networking is a journey. Uh, the more you pass on, the more time you spend, the more things you do in terms of making it relevant, having impactful, it will help you in your journey.
Right, sir. The next question is, can you just name the specific skills that are need to required for the networking?
Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, I mentioned about few of the tips, mantras, right? In outside of that, I would like to reiterate the importance of communication. Communication is very important. Again, I'm not talking about being good or very smooth in English, right? In whatever language you're communicating, communication is important. You have to look at Next is you have to look at your audience, right? When you are communicating, first you need to understand your audience. It could be a one individual or a group of people. You need to know what my audience are, right? And what am I communicating? Is it relevant to that audience, or am I communicating it in the right way so that the audience understands what I'm asking for? Sometimes communication is for the individuals who is taking it. For example, here I'm communicating it for all of you, right?
Yeah.
In return, I'm not expecting anything, but I'm expecting that you all take away from something from this session, right? So this is a communication intent from my side. But if I'm seeking out to my networks to get a recommendation, to get some help, you need to know who is the right audience to reach out to, and you need to know how do I communicate to them and how crisp and relevant I can be. That is second. Third is you need to have patience, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you are searching job, it can be a very frustrating exercise, right? Because you might, like I said, you might apply for 100 jobs on LinkedIn. You might reach out to multiple people within your connect. They might not respond. They might not respond today, or they might take time to respond. So patience is key. It comes with the virtue of being patient comes the results, but patience is key, right? That is the third attribute or the third skill that you need to have. Fourth, again I said, networking is a lengthy journey, right? With patience, with the right focus, with the virtue of your effort, you will get to where you need to be, and you need to sustain that, right? So it's not like you built a good network, you found your dream job, you cut off. I mentioned about it in few slides as well, right? So you have to constantly build that network and constantly sustain that network, right? That's important. So it's a job by itself. You need to understand and realize how much time you need to spend, but and at the same time, what is the quality time that you need to spend in sustaining and building your network, right? So these are few of the things, skills anybody can develop if they put in that focus. And I'm sure all the tools are available. I gave examples of few that you are already aware. I mentioned about some of the platforms for meetup and other things which you can leverage that will help you in networking and be successful in your career.
One of the last question which I get from the audience is that, can you give a successful example of networking, live successful example?
Let me see if I want to give anything from my own professional thing or
Yeah.
something that's out there in the world. Yeah. What I would like to give example is Narayan Murthy. All right. I'll not take anything from my life. I will like to quote what Narayan Murthy has done to bring Infosys where it is today. I mean, we all know about Narayan Murthy, the one of the founder of Infosys, right? So when Infosys was being built, it was built during the days of license Raj in India, right? Importing a computer into India, because at that time the availability of computer, I'm talking about the very early stages when the company was formed. At that time, getting a computer into the country was a lengthy and heavy paperwork related process, right? It was very frustrating. It was license Raj. You had to go through. You had to go to Delhi to get certain paperwork done, approvals done, and all of that, right? So Narayan Murthy was. These are the words from Sudha Murthy, his wife. Narayan Murthy was very patient, and he went through all of those steps because he had a vision in his mind, right? No matter all of these things, I will be patient. I will go through all of this. I will network. I will make friends. I will get the work done and get the company to where I want it to be. Right? That is one aspect. After having overcome all of those challenges internally within India and within his organization, the way he built Infosys at a global level is mind blowing. Right? If you have read or heard about his talks during the heydays, 320 plus days used to be traveling, right? Going and talking to his customers, existing customers, potential customers, and that is networking. That is networking where he was building his brand, where he was trying to understand what organizations' problems are, what CEOs, CIOs needed, and how his company could solve that problem, right? So he has, and in those early days, the world did not know about Infosys, right? Again,
Correct, sir. Correct,
this is an example of, if you sit in your dorm, if you set up a company, put up a website and think, okay, somebody will come and give you business. No, you need to put yourself out. That's what Narayan Murthy has did during the initial days. He, according to him, 320 days in a year, he was traveling, was constantly on the plane, meeting customers, his existing customers, potential customers, talking to them, being patient, understanding their challenges, understanding their problems, and then proposing solution, right? So I can't think of any other better example where the power of networking, the power of socializing, the power of communicating, the power of listening, the power of being patient has benefited the individual himself as well as the company at a large.
Yes, sir. You are absolutely right, sir. Sir, thank you for answering all of this question, and it was really very much effective for our audience, and that was a really very good piece of advice for us.
So I hope the session was interesting. I added some value to each one of you, gave you some insights on what you can do to further your career, improve your networking skills, and achieve your aspirations. Right? That was my intent. I hope I have achieved some part of it. And again, thanks all of you for your patience, taking an hour of your evening listening to me.
Hello, sir. I'm Arpita from SEMS Group Sites.
Yeah.
Today event was very wonderful. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
So I just want to say that thank you all
Thank you,
guys
everyone.
for attending this event. And if you are having any questions, then please feel free to contact us as we are available for you. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening. Bye.